When you look at the citizens of the United States now, and Gerald, you bring up really a fascinating point there, because I'm going to move this in a different direction now and talk about these CEOs and the fact that they're feeling the need to spend large amounts of money on personal protection. And I don't blame them, right, with what they're doing. Can you just talk about that for just a minute?
Well, again, this is old news to us. We wrote about this over about a year and a half ago, that when we saw what was going on and we knew how it's going to end, it's going to be off with their heads. And what people should also know is that these people that have been robbing the nation blind have also made escape plans and strategies to go to safe haven countries in the event, not in the event, when the financial system collapses more and more people start losing everything that they have while the too big to fails are sitting fat and happy. So they've already made plans to go someplace else. The average person doesn't know this, but these plans are well in place, and they have security guards around them that are presidential quality, because there are a lot of angry people that are looking to get even because they've lost everything. Just kind of like what they do when we were attacked with 9/11. And again, we knew it was going to happen, and we wrote about it. And it was, a matter of fact, USA Today, December 14th, 2000. And the headline read, 2001 won't be our year, Trendseer says. And we knew that we wrote that a wave of anti-Americanism would sweep the globe and Americans wouldn't be safe at home or abroad. It was called foreign policy. But when it happens, they call the people terrorism. How about getting even? Can anybody handle that one? You want to go into another country, knock yourself out. Kill a lot of people, make a lot of enemies. You think they're going to get even with you. It's going to be the same thing with this, Eric. They're going to call it violent crimes. It's going to be called getting even. People have lost everything that they've worked for, their pensions. They've lost their savings. They've lost their futures because the criminal gang on Wall Street, they're ruthless. They rob them blind, and they're going to get even. It's going to be off with their heads. You're going to start seeing kidnappings. New York City is going to start looking like Mexico City when they go after the too rich or the too big that rob too many.
It's interesting that you say that, Gerald, because I had Dr. Rand Paul on last week, son of Congressman Ron Paul, and he said when the Romans would wake up as their country was being looted, it was off with their heads, which is the very same thing you're mentioning here.
Well, again, let's see what happens in the sense that how could people ignore history? I mean, go back to the French. And again, we're looking, by the way, our effort, and I want to make this 100% clear, is for an intellectual revolution. Let's just look at the facts and change the system. We don't want to see any violence. As a Bronx boy, my saying is when people lose everything and they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And that's what we're concerned about. And the people in power will do anything to retain it. So we're looking for a reality check here so that people can move ahead in a situation that understands that, no, the too big to fails have to fail. I think Joseph Stiglitz came out with this. He's been talking about it, the Nobel Award-winning economist, about not measuring our success by GDP anymore, and that we have to measure it more in terms of quality of life and how we're living our lives. And that's a direction we need to go in, and we agree with him wholeheartedly. But if they keep going and robbing the public blind as they are, it's going to turn in a way that it shouldn't go. And there are a lot of talk show hosts out there and media celebrities that are hijacking the revolution for their own ratings and their own needs of power. Because this isn't about, a bunch of right-wing nuts or conservative fringe elements. This is about angry people that no longer want to pay for government's excesses. So that's what we see happening.
What were your thoughts, Gerald, when you saw the live coverage of the protest march on Washington less than 2 weeks ago, and you saw the crowds and the president cut out of town, and many members of Congress cut out of town, and they turned a lot of the cameras off that, of course, are on, right, to watch out for terrorist activity, but they had some of them off. What were your thoughts as you saw that unfold? I know you predicted this, but I'm asking to get in the mind of Gerald Celente now. What were your thoughts when you saw that live?
I thought of France, and I thought of how the nobility and the royalty pretended it didn't happen. Again, current events form future trends. Pick up USA Today on September 13th, the day after. Pick up the New York Times the day after. They showed a little picture, a little photo, the Sunday New York Times. They had a photo at the bottom of the page, and the story was covered, I think, on page 37 on the inside, way back, buried. And the media marginalized it. And again, that was the example of where there, just as when they had the riots in Seattle against World Trade several years ago, they focused in on the anarchists, if they were anarchists or plants, who knows, that was smashing windows and negating the fact of all of the people that are vehemently opposed to the globalization for other reasons. And that's what they did. That was my feeling in the coverage of the September 12th protests in Washington, D.C. Eric, it was the fourth shot of the Second American Revolution. The first one was April 15th with the Tea Parties and protests. The second one was on 4th of July when rallies all over the country against taxation without representation. The third shot was when people protested to their congressmen at town hall meetings against Obamacare. It had less to do with health care and more to do with government encroachment and the people understanding that anything that the government does, they're going to come up on the short end of the stick. And the fourth shot fired was the September 12th protests in D.C.